afternoon, sports fans from all around the globe. I am your host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is your midday market report for Wednesday, August 10th, 2022. Our weekly trip across the border as we get ready, not only for CFL, but the World Juniors. And I know this man is super stoked. I was shutting everything down last night, and usually I'll fall asleep to the MLB West Coast trip, what's going on in baseball, but I get to watch a little USA hockey, which was quite nice. It was a change of pace. It was good to watch. So let's cross that border, shall we? Hey, the one and only Mr. Andrew McInnis. What is up, Andrew?
What's up, Mr. Dawson? Man, what a time it is right now. I'm betting tennis. I'm betting hockey again. I've got an NFL X play going on Friday. I'm excited. How are things on your end?
You know, things are going great. We're doing a lot of work behind the scenes. Had a great pilot show last night with a couple legends, which hopefully will get off the ground. We'll keep our fingers crossed and we'll see what happens there. Change of plans unexpectedly. I'll be in New York City Labor Day weekend. I do that every Labor Day weekend. I do some high stakes fantasy football. Be leaving the Cape on early Friday morning, drafting Friday night and Saturday morning in New York City. Heading back to the Cape to be at Logan Airport Sunday morning at 4:30 to be in Vegas Sunday morning, the 4th through the 10th. So unexpectedly had zero. I was there in July. I'm not going. I'm all set. The only way I was going was to get out to see you guys, which unfortunately I was not able to make those arrangements. And then I got thrown a curveball, Andrew. So I know people say, oh, yeah, you're not going to have fun. It's business. It's the first week of football. I know Thursday night NFL, Bills and Rams. I know Saturday is week 1 of college. Sunday's opening day. I will land Sunday morning. I'm taking the red eye Saturday night. I'll land Sunday morning in Logan at 5 a.m. Hopefully be back on Cape by 7 a.m. Give me a couple hours to decompress because I'll have to set my lineups and we'll have to get ready for week 1 in the NFL.
And here we go. Wow. It sounds like you're a busy man, but you know what? I was just on the Wager Talk show with Teddy and Prez, and they were calling that business vacations because you're still doing business, but you're going somewhere else. So it's like, can you call it a vacation if you're doing business? How about a business vacation? That's the term we came up with there.
Try to find as many write-offs as you can because before you know it'll be tax season, Andrew.
I hear you. I hear you. I'm trying to keep track of all my stuff. This is, a little bit off topic, but I'm at the point where just with different traveling and stuff like that, being like a sole proprietorship, I think it's about time that I create a separate bank account that's just like I can not like I'm spending a bunch of money, but just so it's easier to keep track of things. So everything I spend on that card is taxable versus going through receipts and checking statements and stuff like that. Like I do not want to be doing that in the new year. So that's something I have to do soon, especially if I'm going to be traveling. And it's a good excuse, when I'm in Vegas, I'm going to the Wager Talk meet and greet, sign up for the contest, bringing my girlfriend along, but she'll think, Jeff, that I'm, dinner's on me. Dinner, yeah, I'll pick the tab. But it's just, I'm writing it off anyway. I need some stuff to write off, so it'll be a good excuse to take her out to a few dinners.
You talked about it. It's that time of year, especially for yourself. CFL midseason, World Juniors last night, obviously today, which we're going to get into. We're getting closer. Actually, NFL preseason week 1 tomorrow. You're talking about tennis. How are you juggling all this?
It's, I get asked this, and I'll tell you, Jeff, it's really weird to say this. And I'll be completely honest. I've got some people with certain sports. Like I've got a guy I talk tennis with. I've got, my job is to win. It doesn't have to be directly always, straight from me. So I don't mind that. But I find that sometimes I do better, Jeff, believe it or not, when there's more going on. I'm such a, I'm such a guy, my generation in general, such a bad attention spans anyway, I'll say. But I like having a lot going on because when I'm focused on one thing, I'm all in and dialed on it. So then the next thing gets my attention. The next thing gets my attention. If today there was nothing else I was planning to bet besides MLB, I would have my research and I'd be looking around and stuff like that. But you almost know, okay, that's what I'm doing today. When I've got so many sports, there's no time for messing around. There's no time for a quick break and, going on my phone. You've got to dial in. And, I'm on a 14-1 tennis run. And I just discovered that 20 minutes ago. I've been so busy. I mean, my job is to sell picks. And I've been so busy, I didn't even know I was on that run. I swear to God, I'm not, humble brag, obviously, but I'm just like, I didn't even realize it because I've just been so busy. So you ask, how do I manage it? Well, from a marketing perspective, maybe not great, but from a results perspective, it's going pretty well. So, it's exciting. And I really think that, low volume has helped me a lot as a handicapper. I used to be such a guy that would try and just win the day. CFL, I've been higher volume, but I think I was telling you this last week. It's kind of funny. So with CFL, I'm above 500, but not by an extraordinary amount. But I'm up in units because I'm hitting those big plays. And if that's all I can really ask for if I'm playing a lot of games is, let the 2-star plays be the losers, and the 5-star ones be the winners, and that's so far has gone well for me. But what about you? How are you managing it? You sound like you're very busy as well, doing lots of shows, prepping for different sports. What's going on with you?
I'm having a harder time on my end in regards to we're in the true dog days of summer. This week and next week are, I like to say, the last 2 weeks where families are getting their kids ready to go back to high school. Some kids are already back to school. Some are getting ready for college. Some families are making that last ditch effort to go to the summer cottage for the last week or weekend. When you reach out to certain people, and especially in our lanes, trying to get 15 minutes, 20 minutes just to get a little content out there. I'll get back to you. I'll get back to you.
Yeah.
They don't get back to you. It's like one of those stiff arms. Or it used to be not this week, next week. Got a lot of these, Andrew.
I've got a few of those too. I've got a few of those myself. I know what you're talking about.
And I got a handful where I reached out the start of August, and they're like, catch me at the last week of August, or hey, I'd love to come on. I love your show. I love being a guest, but check with me at the end of August. I'm like, okay, there's another one out there. So
and it's hard to blame people too. But it's just you just want to know. I would just rather know than get bullshitted, pretty much. You know what I mean? Don't tell me. Message me next Tuesday just so I can say no again.
No, and you're right. And baseball for us, 100% transparent. We had a rough 8 days. We started last week off slow, struggled again, and then we got a 4-0 on Friday, which was huge, and then we went 1-1 on Saturday. So we kind of broke even up a little going into this week. Started 0-1 on Monday. I had a team total that didn't come through. Yesterday, I'm sitting there staring at 0-3, and I'm just about ready to pull the plug on baseball. And we lost we had the Braves first 5, and of course, they scored 4 runs, but it wasn't enough.
Mm-hmm.
I have Houston first 5 down 4-0, getting no hit by Perez. Miraculously tied at 4-4, give up a solo shot in the 5th down 5-4, so I'm all done, of course. But miraculously get 2 in the bottom of the 5th. So now we win that, so we're even for the day, down a little juice. And the play of the day on my show, I said the dog of the day was Colorado yesterday, but the VIPs we had the over 12. and we
Ooh,
got that in the third
well
inning.
done.
So,
Those gotta feel good. Nice one. Those gotta feel good.
so you wake up this morning feeling fresh. Baseball's still on the docket, so we're still alive. But it's been brutal. Baseball. Listen, I don't give out 170s, 180s,
Mhm.
190s. I just don't. I'm trying to get to the finish line because September is funny in baseball, Andrew, because everyone forgets about it. They're staring at
Oh
college
yeah. Oh
football.
yeah.
They're staring at NFL football. They forget that that last month is really where the meat and potatoes is for the playoffs.
Well, I mean, this is where it is for the CFL for me as well. You know, the people that are taking notice, and like I've got some people still buying CFL and some people that aren't buying. Anybody really taking CFL from me right now are buying like a week package or 30-day. Nobody's buying the daily picks anymore. The people that really care, they want an investment. People that don't aren't buying day to day. And I tell them this is the time of the year where number one, nobody's paying attention. Number two, you can really get a grip on some of these teams and kind of what they're going to be like over the next little while. But you're right, because everyone's going NFL crazy. They're going training camp crazy. And I think you liked a tweet that I was kind of a conversation I was involved in yesterday with Las Vegas Chris. He was talking about how people react to everything in training camp in quotes. And everyone's just hungry for everything, for a piece of information, something that'll make them look smart. Because everyone does content just like we're doing right now, but they want to jump in and on, this coach said this. So, okay, well, this guy said this. These guys aren't looking very good in training camp. I'm not going to compare myself to any type of professional coach, but I've coached before. And being a head coach early in seasons, you put your players in uncomfortable situations. That's what the practice is for. That's what preseason is for. Training camp is for. Not often are you going to go to a training camp and you're going to see guys doing what they're already good at because, well, that's what the actual games are for during the year. So I feel like it's important for us to follow the NFL and stuff like that. But the sports that are going right now, I mean, right now in the MLB, it's the time of the year where you ride the hot and you fade the cold and you laugh into the sunset. For me right now, for full transparency, my MLB season, it's been right now, it's been a 1-1 every day, and I'm just eating the juice. I'm the vig is killing me. And then it'll be a couple of days where I go 2-0, and then it's back to the 1-1. So maybe I should go back to the 3 plays, get an odd number going again. But that's really what it's been for me. Yesterday, I had the Phillies run line, and I had the Jays. And of course, the Jays were winning up until that rain delay. And if they would have called the game, Jeff, I would have won because I had the money line, not the run line. Of course, they come back out after an hour and a half break. Bullpen loses the game for me, and they give up a 2-run blast to who was it? Odor. So that's my life right now in the MLB. I'm just going breaking even, but I love following your Twitter because you're whether it's a win or a loss, you wear your heart on your sleeve, and I like it.
You talk about overreactions. I'll give you 2 quick overreactions. Then we're going to dive into some hockey right now. Patriots training camp has been as abysmal as you could get. I mean, they can't complete a 10-yard pass without a hook and lateral. I mean, that's how bad they've been. And they opened up 2-point favorites against the Giants at Foxborough tomorrow. Giants now 2-point favorites there. So there's one of your overreactions. The other one is opening night, September 8th or 7th, whatever it is, the Bills at the Rams. Super Bowl champs putting up the banners. It's going to be a special day. The Bills, everyone's sexy favorite to not only win the AFC most likely, but come out of the AFC and potentially win the Super Bowl. Rams opened up 1.5 point favorites. The Bills 2.5 point favorites. Why? Because of the social media and Stafford's elbow. And everyone's like, oh shit, well, if his elbow's not that good, let's go jump on Buffalo now. That could be a field goal by opening day. Absurd.
Let me ask you this: Do you make NFL Week 1 picks early in the year, or like right now? Like, do you have many locked? I know everyone always just says like the only time you do is you think that the number's going to move big time and stuff like that. But my job is to sell picks and stuff like that. It could be advantageous for me to do this right now, but I'm not releasing anything NFL Week 1 just quite yet for several of these reasons. I'll let that number settle down. And for the most part, anybody tailing my picks are probably not going to be getting these picks from me until 4 or 5 days before the game anyway. So I think I'll wait. What about you? Have you played any games so far?
No, and listen, you have to sift through the BS, the madness on social media, on gambling, Twitter. Listen, there's a lot of people, big platform, big stages, big check marks, which they say a lot, and they're the experts or the so-called experts, and they're talking about, buying now, buying value. Well, I get it, but I'm not going to tie up my monies or my clients' monies, in August. Let's just say, for instance, the Dolphins gaining a lot of steam. The Patriots got to travel to Miami in September, opening day, which they've never fared well, anyways. Going into that heat, you can't practice for that heat that you're going to get on that opening day in September. The fact that 2 is 3-0 against Bill Belichick, the fact that the Patriots look like swamp, right now, and they always start slow. Well, how come that line's only 2.5? I mean, why isn't it 5? Why isn't it 4.5? So, you
I lean to the under in that game.
Yeah. No, the Patriots are going to have a hard time scoring. What I'm afraid of is I don't think they have the speed to cover Waddle on one side and Tyreek on the other side. I think they're going to be lost.
Mm-hmm. And that would worry me with my under for sure. That would worry the under. But
you could have your under for for 59 minutes and 38 seconds, and he tells you to go to the mailbox, for a Hail Mary, and there it is. So
go to the fridge, grab a fresh cold one, and come back to the TV, and it's no longer a winner. That's how NFL works.
One day in the books. In the hockey last night, like I said, I turned on the U.S. They were up 4-0 against Germany. What was the final?
6-0, I believe.
6-0. Okay. I saw the second period. I saw 4-0, and then I rolled over. So, how'd you do last night? Do you have any futures initially to win this, or are you just going day by day?
I'm just going day by day here with this. One thing I think and I don't want to get into it, but it feels like a weird tournament without Russia being involved in it, So Latvia takes Russia's place. They come in, and that makes kind of an X factor. So right now it's a battle. We've got Finland, Canada, Sweden, USA, and then it's the field, right? Finland's supposed to be very strong. They've got a lot of their guys back. You take a look at the USA, the American team. I was really high on them. That was my only play yesterday. I had the -3.5 from DraftKings at like -140. They're a team that goaltending is their biggest question mark, but if their defense and their offense is so strong, they're not going to have to worry about it as much. They're going to keep the puck out of their own end so much. And I think they have 17 returning players, Jeff, or something like that were on the team in December. So that's number one, the first thing I was looking at when handicapping a couple of these different teams. Okay, how many guys are a part of the team right now that were there in December? I think they have 4 or 5 guys that were on the championship winning team a few years back. 4 of the 5 same coaches. So that looks good for them. As far as Team Canada goes, they actually added 1 or 2 players, including Nicholas Waugh. He's a top prospect for my Canadians, so I know quite a bit about that guy, and he wasn't on the team. Get this, Jeff, he wasn't on the team in December, but yet now he's on the number 1 line for Team Canada. Imagine that. Doesn't make the team in January, on the number 1 line now for Team Canada with McTavish and Bedard. So that's going to be a really skilled team. And Sweden, they play their first game today against Switzerland. And they're just very well rounded, but I'm curious about their scoring capability, and that first game should be interesting. So it's one of those tournaments where a lot of times with tournaments like this, I used to start off higher volume and get lower. Now it's quite the opposite. I start off lower. I wanted to start off badly yesterday with just a 1-0. I wanted to see 1-0, chalk up my units, and move on to the next day. As I get familiar with these teams and see these numbers change, it's kind of funny. We're dealing with field goals and touchdown point spreads here in hockey, which is just weird to deal with. As I get familiar with these teams, I'll start playing more games, but it should be interesting. And I will say it is a real misunderstanding people have that you don't always want to start off with the easy victories. You want to go through a little bit of adversity to start things off, because it could backfire on you late in the tournament. So some people, they talk about sportsmanship, right? And youth sports and stuff like that. Don't run the score up. I played basketball growing up. If we were up by 20 something points on a team, we had the 5-pass rule. We had to pass the ball around the 3-pointer. In this, their coach wants you to stay on track. If that's why these point spreads don't get scared by them, I think, because there's no backdoor cover. If you look, the Americans last night, if they wanted to, they could. If they could have, they would have won by 15 goals. They kept on trying. It's not a type of thing where you sit back. In the NHL, when a team's up 5-6 goals, they don't try and just keep scoring. They hold back. But in this league, they certainly do.
I saw one of your colleagues poo-pooing this tournament. I will not watch more than a period or a period and a half, I think was the quote, in this whole tournament. We're talking about Ian Cameron. And I saw your response, and I was just trying to get a temperature from you, colleagues, Canada in general. I mean, obviously, we were all hot bothered and lathered in February. We were in the midst of our second or third day. I think it was our second day. We were on the show live and had a couple plays out there, and then the plug was pulled. What's the temperature, Andrew, on this tournament?
Well, I think the marketing was not very good. Like you and I knew about when this was going to be since a couple weeks after. I think I told you, like, on our next show the week after, hey, Jeff, they announced it's going to be in August. So I've known about this for months. I don't understand how many other people didn't know about it, but they didn't really hype it up. I'll say this here in Canada during, Christmas time, you can't turn on a TV and not see 20 advertisements for this tournament. It's they shove it down your throat. If you're a sports fan, you're going to know every player on the team. You're going to know when the games are. You're going to know when Canada's first game is. So as far as the marketing goes, I haven't really seen much about it. That's for sure. Then Edmonton, if you're not familiar with Edmonton, it's not really a fun place to live as far as weather goes, 10 months of the year. So people up from what, they're having fun outside, enjoying the nice weather. Ticket sales aren't going very well, but I enjoy cheering on my country, and I sure enjoy betting on hockey. So I'm interested in it. But you know what? On a personal level, I'm excited because all the negative things being said about Edmonton right now, it's going to just make my hometown, Halifax, look that much better in a few months when we are hosting the World Junior Championships. I can't wait to get. It's funny. I don't want to get too off track, Jeff, but it's funny because so for the Halifax Mooseheads, our junior team, they've made a deal with kind of Hockey Canada type of thing, where if you buy a 15-pack to the Halifax Mooseheads, so they have their like regular, you can get like season tickets or a half season, so 15-pack. If you buy that 15-pack, you get first dibs on the World Junior tickets. So a lot of people are going out of their way to buy a 15-pack to the Moosehead team strictly for that. They'll go to some games and stuff, but it's literally just based on to get that first come, first serve. So I haven't done that, but I'm thinking about doing it. Just, hey, if I can't go, give it to some family or give those tickets, sell them or whatever. But I want to go and I want to be in the building. And if it wasn't around Christmas time, I would invite you and your family to come. Still, you can come. But I know a lot of people, I've invited some people and everyone's like, well, it's around Christmas time. But it is going to be amazing. And this will be the first time where I'm of legal drinking age, I'll say, when World Hockey Championships have been in Halifax. Because in years past, I've gone. It's been great. Halifax is really great at hosting these events, but we're just not big enough to have an NHL team.
And you're talking about those tickets, and I'm not trying to push you to do it, but I would do it if I was you because it reminds me of this BC football. When Notre Dame is on the schedule for the home game,
Mhm.
people just buy the season tickets just to make sure that they had a ticket for the
Wow.
BC Notre Dame game. So
Yeah.
you take a few for the team. Now with the secondary markets, you can flip them on, StubHub or Ticketmaster or
Mhm.
whatever. You can try to flip them. But yeah, just to make sure you had a pair of tickets for BC Notre Dame,
Yeah.
you would just buy the season
That's
tickets.
interesting.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So if I was you, I'd make sure I had my tickets because that sounds like it's going to be an amazing event.
And it's good marketing too, right? Like the fact that, and so the Mooseheads are happy, and I believe they have after the Quebec Remparts, the Megatron Center or whatever it's called. We have the second biggest building in junior hockey and for the QMJHL. So they're trying to get fans in the stands for their team. And then with that being said, they're saying, hey, buy our tickets and we'll give you first come, first serve at the World Hockey. So, but the funny thing is, though, a lot of people might buy those tickets and then just not show up to the junior games and just want to, have the first come, first serve.
Hey, maybe, Friday or Saturday night when they're home, you could start your own little live remote, sir.
Yeah. That's the thing, Jeff. I want to do some media stuff with the World Juniors, but I also want to have a cold beer and have fun too. We'll see what happens. But either way, I'll be having some fun. The invitation's out there for you to come. It's not a long flight, so maybe if you want to come for the semifinals, gold medal game, we'll set you up.
All right, I got that jotted down, so I'll keep you in mind. So tonight, actually 2:00. You got 33 minutes. You got Switzerland and Sweden. Currently, Sweden minus 900 on the money line and under over 6.5. Sweden minus 2.5 goals, minus 150. So they're basically under over 6.5 juice under. So they got Sweden probably winning like US did, that 6-0, 5-1, somewhere in that range.
Yes, I mean, there just doesn't really seem, from what I've read, there just doesn't really seem to be much from the Swiss team right now. They had a really good run for a couple of years where they were producing some offense. Look at guys like Nico Hischier, captain of the Devils. I mean, the program has gotten better, and more importantly, their decor has gotten better. That's where a lot of teams, like them, have kind of like flourished recently. It's not been their offensive firepower. So I like the under in this game. I like under 6.5. I think it's gonna be some hockey spread drama. As funny as that sounds, some puck line drama, I'll say. I see something along the lines of a kind of a 4-1 type game here. Where we could see Sweden cover the puck line, but I feel a lot more comfortable with the under. Being the first game, Sweden has strong goaltending, and they do have strong defense, but they don't have a lot of guys that stand out. They're top heavy forward wise. Some decent top prospects, but they're not really spread out across several lines. So one thing that's weird to think about, Jeff, is that besides some NHL developmental camps and stuff like that for these players, it's different than it is usually when it's December or January, because guess what? These guys are already in the middle of their junior seasons or, U.S. development seasons or over in Europe, whatever they're playing. Right now, we're in the middle of August. A lot of these guys are training or they just spent a bunch of time at their family cottages and now they're really going hard in their training before their junior camps start, stuff like that. So stick them into August. You got to ask yourself, what's going to be better at the gate, defense or offense? And a lot of the time I used to say, you don't forget offense. You forget how to work hard on defense. But as far as these teams go, the chemistry, the coaching game plans and stuff like that, I think kind of different than what I usually say from my NHL handicapping, is that I feel like there's going to be effort out the gate, but they might not convert on some of these chances. One timer in the slot that you might score in 4 days from now, you might not score tonight. So opening game here, we're going with the under 6.5.
Your boys, Canada against Latvia. No money line. Under over 8, just juiced minus 115. Canada -6 and a hook, plus 105. Latavia, +6.5, -125. This has got 6-0, 7-1 written all over it, something like that.
Yeah, so Latvia lost 6-1 to Finland yesterday. And Finland's supposed to be a real strong team in this tournament. But I'll tell you, I watched that game, and Jeff, that could have been a hell of a lot worse for Latvia. That's how you know it's bad, when you lose 6-1, and it could have been 7, 8, 9, and that's why it's important to watch these games. I was, trying to do some work at the same time, but I had it in the background. And first of all, the reviews are already making me mad in world hockey, and it's only been one day. I mean, these guys will have the headsets on for 5.5 minutes trying to figure out if it went off the post or not. And that happened actually 2 times in yesterday's game. So, Latvia, like I said, they're only in this tournament because Russia's not. They were the extra team that got added into it. They're happy to be here. In the Division 2, the Tier 2 of the world hockey, they did very well. But it's a tough opener, and historically, Canada has owned Latvia, putting up big numbers. And like I said, this is an absolute showcase type of tournament. This is not a be a friendly person and be a humble guy type of tournament. When you get up 3 goals, you're going to sit back. The fact is, I don't bet Canada every game. Everybody watching probably knows I'm Canadian, but you're getting a plus price on the 6.5 goal spread here, with Latvia on the second half of a back-to-back in a game where they barely held possession. And now you have an absolutely hungry team in Canada at home with a top line that is going to dominate. And I'm trying to check. If a lot of mostly just Canadian books are offering these props. I was going to give out some props, but I've already taken McTavish to score a goal for Team Canada. And looking down the roster, they've got a lot of depth, and their defensemen are physical. They've got a big decor, 6'2", 6'3", 6'4", a lot of guys that will make you pay. So I'm staying off the total in this one, but I'm going to rock here with Canada. So it's like what you just said. The total's 8, and the goal spread is 6.5. So what are you going to get, a 7-0 game? You know what I mean? Like, it wouldn't surprise me to see like an 8-1 game in here. So
well, that's what they're telling you. Is it 6-0? Is it 7-0? Is it 7-1?
Mm-hmm.
That's what they're trying to tell us.
Well, here's one thing too, Jeff. A lot of times when you bet on Team America, Team Canada, you're laying numbers. DraftKings yesterday had 3.5 for USA, -145. So at least now I'm getting a favorite in the tournament, albeit they need to not only score 7 goals, win by 7 goals, which is kind of crazy to say, but we're getting it at +105, which I do like. We're not laying juice to bet this, which is really nice, because a lot of times when you have to take these. But would you say that they're trying to bait us into taking Latvia, or what would you say here that the market's reading? Because I would take Latvia if this was like 8.5.
Well, the 6 plus 6.5 is juiced -125. But like you said, by reading the market here, the under over is only 8. If the under over was 9.5, 10, I'd feel a lot more comfortable. So with that said, the way I'm reading this, I'd probably be more comfortable in betting under 8, saying Canada doesn't allow a goal. I mean, at worst, Canada's going to allow 1 goal today, at worst.
Yes.
Okay. So now, if that's the case, for you to cash, that has to go 8-1, and that means the over. So you're kind of in a catch-22.
And the funny thing is, some of the books that I bet at, you can bet team totals. So taking a look here, Latvia under over 0.5 goals in brackets, regulation included, -156 to the over. So in regulation, I might bet this after this show. I can bet +117 at Cool Bet Canada here for under 0. So pretty much for them to get shut out.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one is overtime included, Latvia Oh, here we go. Okay, so Latvia over under 1 goal. So 1 even. It's a push. You get to 1. The under is minus 238.
Yeah, well, think about
So
it.
why
First
wouldn't
of
I
all,
just take the regulation?
well, think about it this way. There's gonna be no overtime in this game. First
Yeah,
of all.
exactly.
So you're not gonna get that. We know that. And so now if you take the juiced end of it, right? The one in overtime, well, we know there's no overtime. It's going to take 2 goals for you to lose the bet. So it's one. Do you look for the plus money in the shutout, or do you look for the safe bet and say, yeah, I'm laying 2-1, but they got to score 2 goals, which they're telling us there is zero chance they score 2 goals.
Well, I mean, I think that's what they know too. I mean, so I'd have to bet $238 to win 100. But if they get 1 goal and the game finishes 8-1, I get my money back.
Yeah.
So it might sound crazy, but I agree because, like you said, that's pretty much a win for Latvia. If they score 1 goal, that's their Super Bowl. Is but you know what? I will say that for these teams, they're not coming in. Do you remember the famous quote from a Switzerland coach? I mean, being a Canadian, I followed it. Like I remember this. They were playing Team Canada, and they said, like, so coach, what do you think going into this game? And he goes, well, it's going to be brutal. It's going to be awful. He goes, what do they have? 6 first rounders? What, 9 second round? Do you remember that quote at all? It was hilarious. And the guy says, the reporter said to him, coach, do you tell your team that? He says, of course I tell them. We stand no chance. I mean, could you imagine telling your team that? So you're pretty much telling them like, hey, like we don't really stand a chance, but just go out there and do your thing. I think that if you're a Latvian player, this is, of course, your showcase against a good team like Canada, but you're more so looking forward to get to the games against Austria and Slovakia and stuff like that. So I like the back-to-back edge as well for Team Canada. I'll put it that way.
And don't forget, too, Canada knows that the USA pitched a shutout too, so that's in the back of their mind as well. So.
For sure, I agree.
The last game tonight, Austria versus Germany. Money line, Germany minus 340. You can get Austria plus 265 and under over of 6.5, juiced under minus 120. Germany minus 1.5 goals, minus 125. Austria plus 1.5 goals, plus 105. I think they're pretty well to say this is 4-2 Germany. That's basically what they're trying to paint us in the corner for.
Yeah, so Germany played yesterday, and when I look at them, let's see. So yeah, so that was a difficult one against USA because you got off to a real tough start. But here's the thing: I watched the game. They took a 5-minute penalty and a game misconduct going into the second period. USA scored 2 goals in 37 seconds. Boom. Say goodnight. That's the game. It's all about the goal spread now. So as someone that had the minus 3.5, I was pumped to see a match penalty handed out in the first period. I mean, that's great news for me. But Germany's strongest point is their defense, Jeff. They have a lot of top prospects, solid blue line. And I would even argue yesterday they looked strong. When they weren't on penalty kill, I thought they were impressive. They held the Americans out of attacking scenarios, and they were able to maintain possession and get the puck deep. They just couldn't really execute on their chances. So for a lot of these teams that are, let's say bottom tier against bottom tier team, I look towards the under because it's a chance to win a game. It's a chance to perform at a high level and come out on top. And when they get these leads, unlike some teams like America or Canada or Sweden, they don't really stat pad. They try and protect their lead. I find that these teams play differently when they're comfortable. So if we see Germany, let's say up 2-0 at some point in this game, they're going to switch to being a more protective, conservative team, trap in the middle of the ice and protecting things. They could be upset about last night and say, you know what, we played a tough American team. We want to go ahead and get going. the back-to-back angle stinks if you're Latvia playing Canada. I'm not so sure it stinks if you're Germany playing an Austrian team that's playing their first game of the tournament. I'll give the edge as far as that goes to Germany. But I like the under 6.5 here. So looking at these games, I'm expecting unders today. And the only one that would worry me as far as the under would be the Canadian game, just because I feel like it's going to be, wouldn't shock me if they get to double digits, Team Canada. I remember growing up, I used to always go to one of my great aunts' place on Boxing Day with my father on his side. And we'd be going there, and my parents would say, be social, talk to your relatives. You don't see them all the time. You see them once a year. And Jeff, I'd be just glued to the TV watching the Team Canada World Junior, wherever it was. And I'm a kid. And I remember saying to my father, like, is that score right? It's like 13-1 against Latvia. And he's like, oh yeah, it happens every year. And I was like, so why do they even play these teams? And he said, it's a chance for these other players still to showcase their abilities against the best, because this Latvian player might make the NHL one day. It doesn't mean the rest of his teammates are very good. So I really think Team Canada is not going to hold back. And I think it's a great point that you made about Team USA. If they see, the Americans had a great performance last night. Team Canada wants to do the exact same thing.
Before we switch gears here and jump over to the CFL, tomorrow at 10 p.m., USA and Switzerland. USA -3 and a hook is -110. Money line -2,000. You can get Switzerland +850. Over under flat 7, juiced -110 both ways. Does Switzerland keep it within a field goal, or does USA kind of, day off after a nice 6-0 comfortable win? Is this that, 5-2? Yeah, we're going to give up 1 or 2, but it's a comfortable win for USA. Do you see any value in Switzerland, or is this, USA a night off, a chance to now watch Canada, light practice today, and then get ready for tomorrow?
I'd love to be able to give something, but I really want to watch Switzerland here coming up soon and see what they have to offer, honestly. And I apologize. I can't give something. I just want to. I think that they could hang tough, because they're a team that's going to struggle to score, but they're difficult to play against, is all I can really say. But I like I said, I used to be. And we're always learning, right? The second you stop learning, the second, I think that is when you start to go downhill. And I used to want to spray the board these first couple of days of this tournament, but yesterday I couldn't be more satisfied with the 1-0. I really couldn't have. So I'm gonna watch the game coming up here in a little while, and really use what I learned from that one as far as making money tomorrow.
I love it. I absolutely do. Like I try to explain to people on the Saturdays. 110, 120 games out there. You go 3-0, 4-0, you pick up 3-4 units, and people aren't satisfied. It's just the same thing as going 10-3, 10-4, with the juice and stuff. But the action junkies, what do you mean we're not playing? This game on now, and this game on 2 hours, Andrew. Well, we just made two units. They don't get it.
People want action. People want picks. That's why. What's funny, Jeff? A lot of my Thursday CFL picks have been my free plays, like where I do videos on and post them on Twitter and do wager talk stuff, because everybody wants a pick right away. Mm-hmm. And there's going to be all kinds of stuff going on, NFL stuff soon in the weekend. So it's a good chance for me to give some people some action on Thursday nights, right? Yeah, well, this is just baseball going on, NFL, college starting soon. Here's a CFL free pick on Thursday. Go crazy.
That's right. That's smart of you, too, by the way. 4 games on the board here, and I know you're busy, so I promise I will pick up the pace here for you. I don't want to make anyone late. You know what I mean? So tomorrow, Montreal and Winnipeg. This Winnipeg team, we've said it week after, it's just spin, repeat, rinse, spin, repeat, rinse. 11-point favorites against the Alouettes, under over a 48 and a hook, money line -540. I know what you're going to say, but the stage is yours.
Because I like betting underdogs. Is that why? Hopefully it turns around, because so far the underdogs have been okay for me this year so far. Like I said, I'm having a winning year, but it's mostly just because the big plays are coming through. Look, this is the biggest point spread Winnipeg has faced all year long. They're undefeated, obviously, straight up. They're a team that can play a relatively conservative offense when they are up on teams. They have a strong defense, no doubt about it. But Montreal, they picked off Zach Collaros 3 times last week. They got a fumble recovery, 4 sacks, and they were tied going into the fourth quarter. That's my sales pitch to you as to why we should take Montreal plus the points at 11.5. Winnipeg, they've gone through, I mean, every type of quote unquote tough spot, letdown, whatever you want to call it, they've battled through. They're a fourth quarter team. I mean, they scored 14 consecutive points. I think it might have been more than that last week in the fourth quarter. I had the over. Trevor Harris threw an interception, Jeff, on his own 10-yard line, and then Winnipeg scored to cash my over, which is pretty much the only thing that could have happened for me. So it's nice when things kind of, you win ones like that. But yeah, I like Montreal here, plus the points. There are a few injuries. Be aware of them. Check up on them. I know I'm waiting on those, but I just think we go from 5.5 last week to 11.5 this week. If Geno Lewis is out there, whether it's 80% or 70 or 90%, I feel like that makes a big difference for them, and I think they'll cover. So who's to say Winnipeg doesn't keep winning straight up? But I feel like they'll, I feel like Montreal will keep it close in this one. So it's 11.5. And this is a market reaction to saying, holy shit, we keep getting beat up on the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Montreal's injured. Let's go crazy with this point spread. And now it'll be interesting to see what the public does here, and the sharp players coming in and saying, "Yep, Winnipeg." Whereas I'm giving them a not so fast and thinking this could be the time. Remember last week I said to you, I'm pissed off myself for not betting Winnipeg enough. I feel like that I might have missed that train a little bit. This could be a spot to bet Montreal.
The next 2 games, I think, are the headliners of the weekend for you. Toronto at Hamilton. Hamilton -2, under over 46 flat. Hamilton -130 on the money line. Toronto +110. I have a side here that I really, really like, and I don't think you're going to like it, but the stage is yours.
You like Toronto?
No.
I like Hamilton. There we go. Okay. I like being on the same side as you, so that's why I had to get it. You're making me nervous. I had to get that out of the way. But, look, one thing that went wrong last week, Braylon Addison goes down, which is a real tough. I believe that's yeah. So the fact is he's had injuries. It's one of those ones, Jeff, where you feel bad for the guy on just a genuine personal level. He had injuries in the past, but Dane Evans throws another fourth quarter pick 6 to lose the game for his team. It's unbelievable. 3rd time this year he's done that, whether it's fumbles or interceptions. And if you recall, because I'll own up to it, I've been relatively defensive of Dane Evans and the Ticats, saying this has been a different team, but it's inexcusable. The point of the matter is they're back home playing at the donut box, as they call it, Tim Hortons Field, and they have a great home advantage. They do very well at home. They look solid for 3.5 quarters, and I think they'll build on that. I think Hamilton's defense looked pretty solid against Toronto. And sure, the scoreboard says they lost. The scoreboard says that there were some late plays that didn't go very well. Why can't the guy throw a first quarter pick 6? I'd love that for a change, But I think that they're the play. I think the back-to-back is the play. I don't want to say I have regrets, but there's so many home-and-home scenarios like we're seeing with Montreal, Winnipeg, now Toronto, Hamilton. I almost wish that I waited to see the result of the game one, to make but hindsight's 2020, where I'm not a time traveler. So I'm right there with Hamilton. I feel like it's a good price. So give me Hamilton on the money line.
I think that's the game of the weekend. That's just me, but I assume you'll be coming here. BC at Calgary, BC -1, under over the biggest of the weekend, 53 and a hook. BC -120 on the money line. You can get Calgary +100 on the money line.
Yeah, look, I'm just gonna say that I see points. I'm not betting under in BC games. I wish anyone best of luck that wants to take an under in a game that they are involved in. Calgary allows points to everybody. They're off, they're off a scenario where they've just haven't looked like themselves, whether it's been, a tough one against Winnipeg or tough one against an East opponent. They haven't looked like themselves, but they can put up points. They have a strong receiving core. I don't trust their defense, though. And BC and Nathan Rourke, I think it was 4 or 5 touchdowns first half. I mean, 11 o'clock local time from where I am last week. That was my 5-star play of the week, the over in the Elks and BC game. Boy, did that one feel good. I think it was a live, like 64.5 was the live total at one point. I'm going to go over again here, Jeff. Highest total on the board, and I think it's high for a reason.
I agree with you there. I kind of sort of thought that's where you're going on that game. Last game, Saskatchewan at Edmonton. My Elks plus 5.5, under over 48 and a hook. Rough Riders minus 210. You can get the Elks plus 180. You see, I've lost a lot of steam in my Elks.
Look, I mean, it's one of those things right now where it's not as much I want to fade Edmonton where I want to bet on Saskatchewan. I'll make that clear. This isn't just the typical, yes, Edmonton's not doing very well, I'm going to go against them. This is a spot where Saskatchewan, take a look at kind of what they've been involved in recently. It's been a lot of COVID-19 issues, quarterback injury issues, traveling here to my province in Nova Scotia and dealing with that stuff. They're off a well-needed bye week, and I feel like that helps them out quite a bit. You look at kind of what they've done, and really losing to a tough Lions team. It's hard to give them crap for that one. The Lions are really good. They lose 31-21 in a game against Toronto where they pretty much had none of their starters. And the week before that, Fajardo throws a late game shot clock buzzer beater pick 6, and they lose that one. Times have been rough for this Saskatchewan Rough Rider team. And if we're looking at opening lines, look ahead lines like we do in the NFL for the CFL game, we've got Saskatchewan laying at least a touchdown. 8-9 points, so this to me is cheap. It is, and you've got a motivated and hungry team. And I gotta say real quick, I love mentioning these owner quotes. I mean, I don't know what's going on with these owners. It's really funny and it's amusing and good for the game, but the owner of Edmonton last week didn't even say they're going to win against BC last week. He said we're going to win 3 straight games. It's like, dude, you're crazy. You're nuts. Like, just say we're going to score 10 points for once. Don't say you're going to win a game. So I like the Rough Riders, and if you're betting on the Edmonton Elks now in this spot, you're just betting that something completely different happens, because you and I made money betting on them when they were plus 7.5, not plus 5 against a team that couldn't be more motivated. This is if you're a situational handicapper, this is a spot that sticks out immediately on the board for Saskatchewan trying to wake the hell up and say, this is a week. And what better of a team? It's kind of like if you're, what it reminds me of? Conor McGregor, off all the stuff that happened with him, comes back and he fights Cowboy Cerrone. That's what happened. Cowboy just said a couple of days ago to the media, he was in the locker room. I feel bad for the guy. Didn't even want to walk out. Didn't even want to be there. McGregor kicks him in the chin a few times and the fight's over. And all of a sudden he thinks he's back. That's what's going to happen to Saskatchewan. They're going to kick Edmonton in the chin a few times. They're going to think they're back and then probably lose again next week. So let's make some money here on Saskatchewan, and we'll keep it at that for this week.
Busy show, long show. We covered a ton here, and then I can't be more grateful, obviously, on our week-to-week crossing the border. The crawler's been going. You can follow Andrew at McInnis Picks, at Wager Talk, at Sports Mayflower. Jump on over to YouTube to Mayflower Sports. Subscribe. It's free. Tell a friend, tell another friend, and always use the ECSI 15 promo code at Wager Talk for $15 off the CFL Best Bet Package. Andrew, tell everyone watching and listening and who will be watching this later on tape with what you have going for the weekend and moving forward.
Well, thanks as always, Jeff. I hope I didn't talk your ear off too much. Hopefully we got some good information. But look, if anybody wants my picks and my action stuff that I'm involved in, as much as I mentioned I'm a lower volume guy these days, I'm high volume in a sense because I'm doing plenty of sports. So I narrow in on a couple best bets in each sport, and all of a sudden we've got a handful of plays across the board: world hockey, tennis action, CFL, NFL exhibition, and like I mentioned, 2 or 3 MLB plays a day. So grab a day pass, grab a 3-day weekend pass. Try me out. I'm not going to tell you to buy a year or 4, 5, 6 months. Get to know me. If you want longer, DM me. We'll try and figure out a package for you. But this is one of those times where you don't want to just be purchasing an MLB pick. You want to be paying that $10 more and get the entire day full of action. So that's all I really have for everybody, and wish everyone the best of luck.
And first and foremost, if I had it my way, I'd keep you on for 2 hours. So I was doing my best to keep it under an hour because I know you got other stages and microphones to go to. So here I was just, saying, hey, I don't want to be the cause where I'm getting the phone call. What are you keeping Andrew late for?
I appreciate it. It's always a fun time.
So we want to thank everyone for watching and listening. Next week again, we're back to our Wednesday at 1:00. I did tease Andrew before the show saying, did you get comfortable? Do you want Thursday at 10:30? But he was like, no, I'm ready. I'm back. So we are back. So everyone today, if you are wagering or investing, please do it responsibly. If you do have a problem, pick up the phone. There's an 800 number available. Ask for help. Why? Myself and Andrew care. We want to see you here today, tomorrow, next week, next month, through 2022 and beyond. From myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, from the one and only Andrew McInnis at McGinnis Picks at Wager Talk, you can find him there. Everyone have a blessed afternoon. Enjoy some hockey. Enjoy some CFL. We'll sprinkle a little MLB in. Tomorrow, NFL preseason week 1. Let's have a day, peeps.